Good evening, this is Andrew with WMH Racing, and today we are going to go over one firmware update that introduces a couple of new features to the Battery Wizard. So first I'm going to go over what the updates are, and then I will go over how to actually do a firmware upgrade. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is point out the first feature, which is being able to have user selectable programming saved onto the Battery Wizard. So normally when you choose your parameters, the discharge rate, the discharge time, and the cutoff voltage, when you power off the Battery Wizard, those all come back to the stock settings, which are these are the stock settings: 3.6 volt cutoff, 20 amp discharge, and 0 seconds. Now, if I move this up to, say, 30 amps, I move this over to 300 seconds, so we want a 5-minute discharge. And then I bring the cutoff voltage down to 3.5 volts, and I exit out of there, and then power the Battery Wizard off, and power it back on. You will notice that all that information is saved. So 30 amps, 300 seconds, and the cutoff voltage 3.5 volts. So those settings will be saved upon exiting that menu for the next time you have to want to use the Battery Wizard. The second feature that I've added, well, really, I've kind of added more to the IR page. So before, we just had the IR taken and it showed the milliohms of cell 1 and cell 2. So now we're getting the IR of cell 1 and cell 2 along with the total pack IR. So that is over here. And then the voltage drop for the IR. So that'll show the actual voltage drop of the IR test and the IR volts under load. So it'll show what the voltage is of the battery when it's loaded with that IR test. Then I've also introduced what we're calling a 200 amp IR check. And this will be great for the drag racers because they pretty much hit their batteries with about 200 amps. And you'll want to see what the voltage sag is on the battery when they hit that. So this IR test is measured faster than the standard IR test, and it is not actually averaged. So it's a one-shot deal. You hit the button, it measures an IR. It measures the IR equivalent to a 200 amp load, and then it's going to give you the voltage drop and the voltage under load. Now, I do want to point out that the Battery Wizard uses Kelvin sense readings, so Kelvin wire basically. It uses 4-wire reading on the battery, and so it is not measuring the battery voltage through a long lead that is also carrying current. And like for example, your ESC voltage, like what your ESC reads your battery at, is going to be higher than what the Battery Wizard reads the battery, or sorry, not higher, lower than what the Battery Wizard reads the battery at, because the Battery Wizard is reading the voltage at the battery, whereas the ESC is measuring the voltage through the wires that are carrying current, which produces a voltage drop over those wires. So you're going to get a lower value on your ESC than you will on the Battery Wizard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in really quick, and we're going to look to see what my voltage actually is right now. So I'm going to go to the discharge setting, and I'm at 4.187. So 3.74 volts is what I'm at right now. Always make sure to use a high quality LiPo-safe when using the Battery Wizard. Alright, now I'm going to go back in and go back to the IR reading. And the first one I'm going to do is the regular standard check IR. And we'll see we come with an IR 3.26, 3.34 for a total pack of 6.6. And now I'm going to do the 200 amp IR check, and we're going to notice that the IR will be slightly lower. That's because it measures the voltage faster. And then we see that there is a 1.2 volt voltage drop under that load, and then a 200 amp load will put a 7.159. That is what the battery will be at under a 200 amp load. So this is great info for drag racers, or great info for bigger motors coming out of corners. You know, when you're grabbing full throttle and you hit, and you're really delivering 200 amps, and you want to see what that's actually going to show you. For most other applications, the standard IR function is going to be is going to suffice, but both of them will be there now. All right, go back to the main menu. Now unplug the battery. I will discharge this later. So now we're going to go into how to actually upgrade your firmware. And I'm going to unplug this one since this one already has the firmware upgraded. And I'm going to put on one of my demo units that I have not upgraded the firmware yet on. Alright, so this is an older demo unit. One of the first ones that was being tested, so you can see that the case is slightly different. Alright, what we need to upgrade the firmware is a USB to serial converter. Okay, so I just got this on Amazon. I have not opened it yet. I figured I'd save that for this video. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. There are some steps here that we're going to have to deal with, and I'll take you through each one. A note is I wrote the firmware upgrade to run on Windows computers. Unfortunately, I have not really sure how it goes on a Mac. I'd have to do a whole bunch more research on how to actually write the program to do this up on a Mac. All right, so I'm going to open this up. Nice and sticky. Okay, I will put a link to this device in the video description. It will be an Amazon link, and I am not getting affiliate on this at all, so you can just use the link and don't have to worry about sending me money. All right, so here is this device. This device is going to interact with the microcontroller on the Battery Wizard because I didn't bother to actually put a USB interface on the Battery Wizard because, to be honest, I really didn't think I'd be doing a firmware upgrade this fast. All right, so first thing we're going to do, one, we want to make sure this jumper is on the 5 volt. Right now it's on the 3.3 volts, and if you see that jumper is VCC to 3.3 volt. We want to make sure it's VCC to 5 volt. So we're going to pull this off, and we're going to slide the jumper over to the 5 volt setting. Second thing is we can take off this, and it's a jumper too. We don't need it. Okay, so now we have the cable that plugs into the serial converter, and so we're going to notice that there are 6 individual cables. Okay, so they don't just plug into the Battery Wizard, and we actually only use 5 of these, so they don't just plug into the Battery Wizard in the order they are here. So I'll go over the order really quick. We're going to need the RX pin first, the TX pin second, I'll flip it back over. RX pin first. Good God. I'm sorry. The TX pin first, the RX pin second, the RTS pin third, the VCC pin fourth, and the ground pin fifth. So that's going to look like blue, green, orange, red, black. Okay? So we're going to, that's kind of nice. Those 3 are in order, right? So we're going to look at the side of this, and we see the pins on the side. So I'm going to plug those 3 in. And then red and black. All right, once you have all those in, and mind you, notice that I am not powering the battery wizard off of the normal power. I am going to power it off this USB. Now I have an extension that I'm going to plug this into. There we go. And we get, there we go. Okay, good stuff. So now the battery wizard comes up and we can see, trying to get it in the actual screen there. Okay, so if I go and I look, and this is the old school firmware, right? Okay, and yeah. So now I'm gonna go up to my computer so we can show what we actually need to do on the computer. So like I said, I wish this were completely easy, but there are a few steps you have to do. So one, you'll have to get a zip file from me. This will probably be on GitHub. I have to package each zip file for you guys individually because there's calibration data inside your firmware upgrade. That calibration data was not originally saved to the EEPROM on the battery wizard, but after this upgrade it will be saved to the EEPROM. But nonetheless, each battery wizard requires its own individual firmware upgrade, so you'll need to email me so I can actually get your upgrade together, get it on GitHub, and send you a link. All right, so first thing you're going to do when you get it, you're going to download the zip file. You're going to extract the zip file. All right, so then we have that folder. We're going to open up the folder. Now this will run anywhere. It should run anywhere on your Windows desktop. You put it on your desktop, it's fine. Your download's fine. I mean, wherever you want to put it, this is going to run from that location. All right, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go to Device Manager. And we need to look to see our COM ports because the serial converter creates a COM port. So we're going to look for ports COM, and we're going to see that I am using serial port COM 10. If I can show that better. All right, serial port COM 10. Okay. And then you're going to open up the folder, and you're going to double click on this firmware upgrade 2-12-50. And when it launches, bring this command prompt window down here, it's going to say, please enter COM port number. So I'm going to enter 10. I'm going to press enter, and it's going to do some fun magic. All right, this is step one. Step one, it's going to write all your calibration data into the EEPROM. So that's what step one is doing. It's just writing that into the onboard non-volatile memory. All right, after step one, you press any key to continue. And step two is it writes the new firmware to the battery wizard. And that is really all there is to it. And now, when I power, I guess I'll use it through here. I'll unplug this and I'll plug it into actual power. And now I am on version 2.12.50, which is the most recent version for the battery wizards that are already out there. New battery wizards that come from new battery wizards that are shipped from me will actually be 2.13. But this is the newest version for the ones that are out there already, and there's actually no real firmware difference except for I use a different calibration method for the voltage on the 2.13. But the only way that can be done is to ship your battery wizard back to me to have me recalibrate it that way. Speaking of which, that is the other way. If you are wanting to do the firmware upgrade and you do not want to go through the process that I have described here, you can ship the battery wizard back to me. I will upgrade the firmware and recalibrate it. All right, like I said, I will put that link to the device in the description. And I thank you. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye.